Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Football Overseas YouTube channel, and welcome to another round of Championship predictions. This is the real meaty part of the season, business part of the season. I always think no more forced breaks now until the March international break, and we've also got the busy Christmas period where games come even thicker and faster than they normally do. And we've got the January transfer window to look forward to as well, where some teams may need to dive into that to revive their season or even enhance their progress. We shall see. So yes, a real good period coming up. We'll be well over halfway. I say well over. We'll be over halfway through the season, coming out the other side of Christmas, New Year holiday. So this is a really important time for teams to make their mark or continue to make their progress. So we have a full programme of fixtures this coming weekend across Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the Championship. We will reflect a little bit on what went on in the weekend before the last break. At the top, we still have Sunderland just clinging on to top spot. They're in draw mode at the moment now. 3 draws on the trot, 31 points. Just on goal difference, staying ahead of Sheffield United, and some of their fans will say, hang on a minute, we had 2 points drop. So effectively, net effect, they are the best team at the moment points-wise, at least points gained over the season so far. But they are in second place on goal difference, and they're on joint 31 points with Sunderland. So they're the two that the rest is chasing at the moment. We'll look at the whys and wherefores of the rest of that middle section. Just 4 points covering 11 spots in the middle from 11th down to 22nd. Just the 4 points between those teams. Incredible, really, as it always is, very congested. And at the bottom, just a quick sort of nod to Portsmouth, who had their first home win of the season. First proper win, what I call, beating Preston by 3-1. And the story of that day, it was, I think Portsmouth certainly deserved to win. The story of that day, just a quick nod to Colby Bishop, who 3 months ago or thereabouts had open heart surgery and stepped up. What a welcome sight that is when a player goes through that, to see him come back onto the pitch as a substitute in that match and score a priceless penalty for them that put them 3-1 ahead and took away the nervousness that would have definitely have been there for the rest of that match. And it was quite near the end, but even so. And if I'd have been his surgeon, I think I'd have been carrying behind the sofa, thinking, goodness me, he's just had in context of any of surgery. He just recently had open heart surgery, now he's taking a pressurised penalty. My goodness, it takes something to even recover to be able to do that. So hats off to him. There's always these stories in the season. I just think that was worth a segment of mention in this preview. That was a nice story. It's a heartwarming story, no pun intended for that. Okay, let's get on with the proper stuff then, or for the weekend coming up. We have, as I say, fixtures across Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the first of which is another home park night under lights. Plymouth against Watford. And Plymouth had a rare sighting of an away point in their last match away at Derby. So they'll take a bit of heart from that, because they're on, as we know, they're on the road. The trips away from home have been really quite shambolic, really, at times. But at home, they've been doing pretty well. However, I just have a feeling Watford are showing a bit of steel at the moment. 3 wins out of the last 4. A decent win against Oxford at home last time out, 1-0. I expected them to do that, but they did what they do. They don't really concede at home, and their home record is incredible. I think it's 6 wins out of 7 this season, so it's where the bulk of their 25 points have come from, 18 of those at home. So I think they'll go down to Plymouth, and even though Plymouth have been so good at home, with the crowd behind them, under lights on a Friday, I'm going to take Watford to steal the points and get back up the motorway and enjoy their weekend. I'm going to go Plymouth Argyle 0, Watford 2. So that's the Friday night offering, and then we go into the Saturday lunchtimes. First of which is Bristol City against Burnley. Now, Bristol City had what I just mentioned Portsmouth having a proper win. I think Bristol City had their first real proper win of the season, a clean sheet, 2-0 and a very well-deserved win at Norwich, which is not an easy place to go. In fact, I believe that was Norwich's first defeat in 21 fixtures, or 21 games at their stadium, Carrow Road. So hats off to Bristol City for that. And Burnley scraped yet another late win. I think it was a very late penalty, if I remember rightly. Got to blow the cobblers off now for a fortnight ago nearly. Burnley just not clicking really, but they did manage to get that that late penalty, and turn the tables on Swansea in the end by a goal to nil. Just 18 goals in 15 matches, which sort of tells the story of their plight, but it means they're not conceding many, just the 6, which is the best defence in the league. So they can't have it all ways, I suppose, at the moment, Burnley fans, but they think they'd want a bit more entertainment. But they'll sacrifice entertainment for going back into the Premier League, I am sure. So they play down at Bristol City, which won't be easy for either side this. I think both sides will probably be happy to notch another point onto their tally come about 2:30 on Saturday lunchtime. So I'm going to go for that outcome. Bristol City 1, Burnley 1. Now that takes us on to Coventry and Sheffield United. Coventry, as we know, have parted company with Mark Robins. Disappointed with that personally, but I hadn't realised until I read a bit deeper that they'd only had 5 or 6 wins in 24 matches. So he was living on a bit of credit, I guess, for what he has done. But I still think it was far too quick and not quite well thought through here on what Coventry have done. However, they've made their move, and they need to just take that on the chin, really. That's what they've got to do now, the hierarchy. So they play a tough game against Sheffield United, who've had 4 wins on the trot and have started to make their move for sure. They had those couple of losses and they've just gone for 4 wins on the trot. They had a very late win at Bristol City, if you remember, having been 1 down with a few minutes to go of normal time. But that shows their quality. They never give up. They've got Chris Wilder roaring them on from the touchline, as we know, as he does. So Coventry drew 2 each with Sunderland, coming back from 2-0 down. So even though they had a manager change and they went 2-0 down, it's very easy to have sort of gone a bit low, but they came back well, drew 2 each. So, and of course, Sheffield United had their win against their rivals, 1-0 against Sheffield Wednesday. So I think Sheffield United will continue their good run. I think they'll be too good for Coventry on the day, not by much. But I think they've just been squeaking through, Sheffield United, doing what they need to do, doing enough, and showing their qualities at doing that. So I'm going to go Coventry City 1, Sheffield United 2. Brings us on to the final 12:30 game on Saturday, which is the other side of Sheffield. Sheffield Wednesday, they're at home, and they're home to Cardiff. So they'll be wanting to shake off the rustiness and the sort of fallout of the local derby defeat. And Cardiff had a little bit of a surprising home win. Not that they're surprised they had lost to Blackburn necessarily, because Blackburn were a half-decent side, as we know. But they just were on a good momentum at home, and they got rumbled 3-1 quite easily by Blackburn last time out. And I think Sheffield Wednesday might take advantage of that. There'll be another big crowd, as always, at Hillsborough. And I think it'll cheer them on to a much needed win. Sheffield Wednesday just sort of 15th, 18 points, win-loss in the last few matches. Cardiff, as we know, GS started to perk up. Now they've had a couple of losses on the bounce, and they find themselves in the bottom 3 as we speak. So they won't want to sit there for too much longer, having started to get a bit of momentum. I haven't seen anything yet about their new manager. The stand-in was doing very well. So I think he was being given a little bit of time perhaps to make his mark. We shall see. So I think Sheffield Wednesday will sneak this one. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Cardiff City 1. Takes us into the afternoon fixtures on Saturday, and the first of those is the one I sort of briefly mentioned at the start, with Portsmouth having a difficult match, and it's the difficult match at Blackburn is where they have to go and try and back up their win against Preston that we spoke about. earlier on, I spoke about. As we say, Blackburn, as I said, Blackburn had that good win down at Cardiff, going into where Cardiff had been storming teams at home in recent weeks. So they'll take confidence in that, having had a bit of a sort of a dodgy run of 3 losses. So they got that win. They'll see Portsmouth as a chance to put another W in that end column. And I think they will, although Portsmouth have renewed energy from their performance. They'll probably feel at last they made a statement to say, we can play at this level and can compete quite nicely. I just think Blackburn will be too good for them, too strong, too experienced this time around. And I'm going to go Blackburn Rovers 2, Portsmouth 0. Next up, we have Luton Town against West Bromwich Albion. Now, against Hull City. Looking at my notes incorrectly. Luton Town against Hull City. The reason I said West Brom is because that's who Hull lost to last time out. And Hull are on a real down spiral at the moment. A tailspin towards the bottom 3 at the moment. They're only on goal difference. They're out of it. No win in 6, 3 losses, 3 draws. And they just can't buy a win at home. So when you can't buy a win at home, the immense pressure that goes on when you travel is really difficult. Luton, of course, well, everyone's under pressure there in really playing wise and managerial wise. A 5-1 loss at Middlesbrough. Apologies from fans, apologies from managers, apologies and players to the fans. So that's never a good situation. And they've had a really, let's be honest now, Luton have had a poor start following their relegation. There may be mitigation about maybe lost some players, etc. But to lose 5-1 in any match is sort of waving the white flag a little bit. So we shall see how Luton recover. I've actually got them to see that Hull City is a good tonic for them. And I think they will put Hull City away because Hull are just, as I say, really in a difficult spot at the moment. So I'm going to take Luton to win this one. I'm going to go Luton Town 3, Hull City 1. Takes us on to Millwall. Now the Millwall story is really taking shape, isn't it? They had 4 wins on the trot until their recent draw against Stoke, at Stoke, so it's still a good point, by the way. They're keeping now clean sheets for fun, having had that terrible defensive leakage at the start of the season. But what a story they're having at the moment. They're riding the wave under Neil Harris once again. They're coming up against league leader Sunderland, and Sunderland, who try to get out of their rut of draws, won't fancy this one at all, I wouldn't have thought. A real big crowd, I'm sure, certain at the Den, trying to will Millwall into that playoff spot in the playoff zones. They're just outside at the moment. I think it will be another draw for Sunderland, and probably a draw that Millwall will say, okay, yeah, we'll take that and run. But their confidence, I'm sure, is sort of suggesting they can do better than that. But Millwall against Sunderland then. I think a draw, as I say. Sunderland had that 2-2 draw against Coventry, so another 2 home points dropped, having been 2-0 up, so they certainly won't have been happy about that outcome. So I'm going to go, as I say, a draw, 1 point apiece. Millwall 1, Sunderland 1. Next up, Oxford against Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough got their tails up at the moment. Just the 1 loss in the last 5, 2 good wins recently, and a 5-1 win in their last time out, as I say, against Luton. So they've really got their tails up. Oxford are relying a little bit on their home form. They're just clinging on to sort of mid-table safety at the moment in 16th place, 2 points ahead of the relegation, about 2 points ahead of a clutch of teams. It's not a straight fight between them and the third bottom place by any means. And Oxford, I think, have done okay since in the first, it's their first term report, if you like. However, I think Middlesbrough will be a step too far this weekend. I say step too far, it'll just be a case of Middlesbrough being the better side. So I'm going to go Oxford United 0, Middlesbrough 2 in that one. Then we have Preston North End against Plymouth, against Derby, sorry. Preston North End against Derby. And Preston North End, as I say, had their sort of wings clipped for sure down at Portsmouth, and they weren't really in the game at all. Portsmouth really put it across them and deservedly won by those 3-1. Derby, Derby had a 1-1 draw against Plymouth. So Plymouth getting a welcome away point there. So Derby will probably have seen that as 2 points dropped, given Plymouth's away record until that point. However, I think Derby will. They've done okay. It's their first term report in the Championship, having got promoted, but only the 1 win in the last 6. So they want to put that straight. But I think Preston will dig in a little bit as a reaction to their poor performance a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to go Preston North End 1, Derby County 1 in that one. So 2 more Saturday 3 o'clocks. The first of which, Queen's Park Rangers, who now, thanks to Portsmouth's win the other week, are now bottom of the league and are really in strife at the moment. No wins for quite a while now, and certainly not in the last 6. 3 losses, 3 draws. And they rack up against Stoke, who've got this sort of 1 step forward, 2 step back sort of approach to the season at the moment. However, they are unbeaten in 3, couple of wins and a draw. That draw came, as I say, against Millwall, so it won't be so that an informed Millwall. And I think QPR will go under again, unfortunately, for them. Queen's Park Rangers just haven't lived up to any pre-season thoughts they were having of being up in the top half of the table at least. So yes, I can't see anything else other than Stoke going there and doing the job. But 2 weeks is a long time in football, so QPR may have reset themselves and will come out with a different approach. We shall see. I'm going to go Queen's Park Rangers 1, Stoke City 2 at the end of the day in that one. Then still on Saturday, we have the final game on Saturday is 3 o'clock is West Bromwich Albion against Norwich. Now Norwich are in a bit of strife as well. As I say, they were done by Bristol City at home, the first home loss in a long while, and that will set a few alarm bells going. Not because they lost to Bristol City, but because they lost their first home game in 21, when their home form has been such a comfort for them to get the points they need in this division. The reason why they've been near the top of the table in the playoffs zone. And so they have started to, just put it, as I say, the red alarm bells are beginning to ring a little bit. 3, the red L's are in the column, 3 on the trot, no win in 6, 3 draws, 3 losses. And again, a bit like, they're surprising me a little bit with the way their season is going. Excuse me, they've... The second joint top scorers in the table, but they've led in 22 now. And that's beginning to take its toll. So, I think West Bromwich Albion, who had that win at Hull, and they needed that as well because they'd got stuck in a bit of a draw rut, 5 on the trot. I think they'll edge Norwich out as well at home. West Bromwich Albion, I think, will sneak it by 2-1 over Norwich. And that takes us into the final game on Sunday lunchtime. Swansea City against Leeds United. Leeds United will want to keep tabs now on the top 2. They're just the 2 points behind. So again, it's now beginning to get tight at the top, as we say. Leeds had fairly regulation 2-0 home win against QPR. QPR weren't embarrassed by any means, but Leeds just put them away with their extra strength, their extra quality. And I think they'll do the same going down to Swansea. Swansea, we just never know, do we? I keep saying that almost every week, probably to the point of boredom, but they're just the team that you really can't predict. They have no sort of swings either way, no runs either way. They've had 2 wins and 2 losses in the last 4. And as I say, they were very unlucky in that last-ditch penalty up at Burnley a couple of weeks ago. However, I think Leeds will come out of the break, come out of the traps as well, and go down to Swansea and put their stamp on matters. I'm going to take them to win by 3-1. So there we have it. That's the forthcoming entertainment. I believe it's now one of those rat-a-tat weeks, what I call rat-a-tat weeks. 3 games in a week for these teams. So there will be another midweek program next week, which I'm sure I will be popping up and giving my thoughts about sometime early part of next week. On Monday, I guess I will do it. But for now, we look forward to this long period we've got of uninterrupted football fixtures, Christmas on the horizon, all of that to throw into the mix. So we're back, we're looking forward to it. And all I can say is have a great footballing weekend. Enjoy what you do, take care, stay safe, and I will see you again next week. Thanks for watching.